So today we're gonna do this quick intro and just explain why blockchain is important, but it's general way, so I won't go like deeper. And popular blockchain, now we just started 2 slides for the taxation in Germany, could be interesting, and 10 networking. Okay, so in this presentation we focus a bit more on the networking because I saw the last time people enjoyed it a lot. And so we do a recap of the last presentations. So that's my favorite thing in general when we approach the blockchain, the decentralization. For example, right now I was reading about a project related to the parking with the car. So people just do, they get money if they just warn another person in the app that they are leaving the parking lot. So that's optimizing, and that's, I think, the concept of decentralization, because you have a lot of parking space, but you don't have the information. And getting this information with a centralized system, like, for example, cameras, could be tricky for privacy and stuff like that. But if you go like with the centralized approach in general in life, you can have a good result and people can get money. So, and I believe a lot we have to decentralize the world somehow. So right now we are living, I think, in an era where the technology is more accessible and the software is in the world. That's basically a thing. Because for sure you can download good software, you have your phone. So today we have a lot of apps for doing everything. And I think at this point, the centralization is the only option we have, because in the end, these applications, they are all centralized. So for example, we use social media, but they have a database, everything. So I think more we get advanced with the technology, more it's kind of overlapping with our private life. And so if you want to keep our rights, I think we have to decentralize. That's my vision about the future. So if you want to make a comparison just to get it more visual for you, here we have decentralized. Let's talk about the banking system. So when you want a loan or when you want to open a bank account, you go to the bank, and there is kind of decision making, and they for sure have to talk with all the people, but everything in the end is centralized. So you end in a server, and it's the server of the bank. You are just adding the signature, and you are giving them your data, everything. So your life is on their server. So everything you spend when you go to the shop. And so that's the same with governments and institutional organizations in general. For example, in a company, if you have to make a decision, in the end, you have to follow your hierarchy, like your boss and the boss of the boss, etc. But if we take a look to decentralization, it works totally different. I think we can imagine that like small teams, like people that are just cooperating on the same level, and so they make decisions, and in the end, it's more democratic, because if you want to succeed with one decision in the organization that you have, you need more people. And that's what the blockchain is doing. So it's just validating the other people vote. And so you are sending data around. So that's exactly what it was. I think that's the most smart approach to the decentralization, because if we think before the blockchain, we tried out to make a kind of decentralization, but never work it out in a large scale. So I think in this way, with the blockchain, decentralization is more scalable. So, but when we talk in general about this concept of decentralization, I think what comes in our mind is about the project, why people get involved in a project, because you need to put some efforts, sometimes some money. So at the beginning, you can be reached. There are a lot of blockchain projects around. And so that's what I noticed with talking with people, they get inside good projects. So in general, decisions are spread over multiple people. I think it's very attractive for people that, for example, they are introvert or they are nerds and they want to get involved in something. And they feel more comfortable to have more people they make decisions around. So this is more democratic, and people feel like they are really involved in something. And in general, the development is funded by the community. So you have always developers somehow, and you have a community that is just supporting you, just telling you how good this project is. And so in the end, you get the money from the community. And in some markets, this could be very disruptive if we think about, for example, arts and music right now with NFT. Some people say that it's a kind of bubble. Somehow it's true, but it's helping a lot of people. They are very creative to make some money in the end. And it's very disruptive if you think about labels like big record labels. So right now you have, for example, music or piece of art, they go over the blockchain, and it's very disruptive because you can get the money. For example, you just write a good song, you just publish, people love it, you earn the money from that song. Someone else can buy part of this song and earn money, so it's more democratic. And it's very disruptive. So just to give you a quick look of popular in general for the people when you talk to people. So if we should have Bitcoin, I mean, if we get in deeper, there are for sure differences about the way it works. So Bitcoin is quite different. It's old, and we have Ethereum that I think that's where the real revolution come, because you have the smart contract. Probably you have heard about that. So they are kind of they are like real contract, but they are just write down in a language that the blockchain understand, and they manage everything, like from transactions or the way you interact with something, and they can represent everything, like from an organization or a specific way of managing inside organization. So you can have, so for sure there is Binance blockchain. That's I think the first exchange we comes in our mind when we talk about blockchain. And so there is Cardano. It's quite interesting blockchain because they do a lot of good things right now. And another one that I just added here is the Breeze blockchain. It's more cheap, and so it's quite new. So maybe you can check it out. And so if we get deeper, I think it could be a bit messy for me as well, because there are a lot of things around that. It's just to give you an introduction. So for sure, when we talk about the blockchain, the most important thing is about talking about the fees and the transactions. Because if I have to pay for something, like I go out and want to pay for a pizza, so with the Bitcoin I need a lot of time, so probably I have to pay when I see it. And so always it's all about the speed when we talk about the blockchain. So how many times you need to move and do the transaction from this point to the other point. Fees, for example, right now with Ethereum, you pay a lot of money to just do the transaction. And for sure, that's not a good advantage to pay like 20 or 30 euros of transaction fee. So that's no point if you have to make them. And another big point is the anonymity. Some blockchain projects focus more on that. And the impact that you have, for example, the CO2. So when you have to work like on the blockchain, the system is using a lot of calculation, and for sure you need energy. So that's another big point here. So I think in general, when we talk about the blockchain, you have to analyze those stuff. So the speed, the fees, the anonymity, and the impact. And in general, good project for sure. They have low fees, good speed. And for sure, right now, I think the point is about the impact they have, especially with Europe. That's why they want to regulate it. Because they don't really understand exactly how it works. They know there is a kind of problem because there is impact. They need a lot of energy to do that. They can't stop that at the same time, but that's good because more projects come. Yes, that's, I think, the big point right now. What really matters? I think in general, the fees and impact are the deal breakers for the new projects today. If you want to wake up and build your next blockchain project, think about that. So the fees and the impact that you have, because you could be regulated sometimes. So I think that's a point that this is my own, they are my own words. So I think less there is the possibility to use in real life, and more is the impact and more regulation will come. Because in the end, if you don't have an activity, that's I think the big difference. kind of utility of what you created, like in real life, you can fall under what they call security and investment. So, for example, if you have a look to Ripple, that's a project, blockchain project, and they help to just doing transactions all over the world. They have a problem with the SEC, that's the, I think, most powerful in the US observer of financial stuff. But the point is, we can overcome this, so no one wants to wake up and have trouble because the blockchain project is a kind of investment, and so get regulated, it's a lot of pain. So I think when we talk about that part of the blockchain, I think people think about two stuff: the innovation they bring and the speculation part. But I see right now when I talk to people, like they see innovation versus speculation. It's kind of, for example, last time we had the Chatsus. It's a project that helps you to get loans based on your crypto assets with high interest. It was a financial product somehow, and they're having problems, so they just disabled the withdrawal of the money, and that's a bad thing. So I think right now the implementation of the blockchain in the modern world is shaped by the speculation, because people want money back. They want to stake, for example. Staking is just deposit your money and get interest. People, for example, want to stake and want to get some money back. But in the end, it's powered by the innovation, because we have to think that blockchain is here to just help us to innovate every aspect of our life. It's kind of more deeper. It's just inventing an app to do something. It's more that you can put inside the process of your life, of your company, and just make the innovation, just optimize everything. So in my perspective, innovation is about optimizing, so saving resources, saving human power, and saving for sure time. So it's just a overall rule. So I think another big topic is about the scam. Recently, for example, with the fall of Luna, I don't know if you heard about that. Luna was a coin linked to a stable coin, USD. So it was like $1, one USD. And they connected this coin, that's the most easy explanation, with an algorithm, this mathematical algorithm. And from outside, sometimes start speculating, and the price fall down from $90 per token to like 0.00. So people lost a lot of money. But it was not kind of scam, but you need to be very careful, because if you do your own research, you don't lose for sure money. There are a lot of good projects around, but the problem is how you implement a project. If you have a look to the project in deeper, that could be very challenging. That's why we have this meetup, because somehow we want to analyze some projects. And if you have questions, for sure. Because you can lose your money, because the way they implement that, maybe they have good faith, they have good project overall, they have good team, but they implement it a bad way. So I think they are the common reason why projects fail. So the project is discontinued, like developers, they give up for, I don't know, different reasons. There is a Ponzi scheme, so it means you deposit the money, you invite friends, or just there is some kind of balance, so in the end, someone gets scammed. So not real use case. I think this a point that everyone can analyze. So there is not real use case, like you use them or you have heard about using them for something very specific. So that's, I think, a good point. So if you are attracted by a project, you want to invest even like 50 euros, it doesn't matter. And so there are some tools. For example, you have heard, for example, about a Squid Game token. They just scanned it like millions and happens a lot of time. So there are some tools that helps you to analyze the contract of this project, and they tell you if you will be able to sell what you have bought, because sometimes that's the first thing. You buy something like a token, and in the contract you can sell it, or for example, they are not on exchanges, so it could be complex, but with those kind of tools you can analyze and you just check out, they give you a kind of score, and so it's good, it's just a good thing. And for sure we can use the good thing. Okay, that's the part of the payments, so but that's my vision about all the situation right now. So I think the first point, I said they have your data, so that's the point when you pay. You go to the restaurant, you send a wire transfer to your family, I don't know, to whatever. So they have your data, so somehow they know who you are. And I think this point, not most people get it, but they authorize you. I think I think in your life happened that, for example, you had problem with your credit cards, maybe abroad, or maybe you spent too much and they called you because you have to authorize, or for example, a big wire transfer, they call you. So in the end, it's kind of banks, they are authorizing you to use your money. So you have this feeling if you get out from the classic transaction that you do. For example, if you go to the restaurant, it's fine. If you go abroad like you did it before, they block your card and they say, oh wow, what's going to happen? And so you feel like they to authorize you to call, they do ID card check, and you are on their own conditions. I think happening to me, but happening to a lot of people. That, for example, you need cash and you go to withdraw the money. They apply to you commissions for the fees. And so you can do anything. For example, for the currency exchange, I mean, a lot of time my banks see like they change euro dollars is I don't know, like not the same. It's like more than the market rate, and so you overpay. So your own money, so they just do the conditions. So that's the bad thing of centralizing. Anyway, as said, we are just doing recap related to the last presentation. So I just added this slide, and so there's the tax breaks in Germany, as I think that's good here in Germany. No tax on crypto yet, but for more than 1 year, it was 1 year. I think before was more. Yeah, so that's what I was going to that. And so, I think, guys, this is very interesting because if you diversify, get the good project, you're a resident here, I mean, that's a very, very good thing. So there are no taxes on profits under euros, but I think profits are related to the way, for example, you buy 100 and you just go up and then you make the money. But I think it's about you if you cash out, because if you don't cash out, we have the questionnaire, so yes. So if you don't cash out, I think it's fine. Oh, this is the income tax, because right now I think more and more people, they are thinking about getting paid in crypto. I saw this kind of trend, especially, for example, small stores, but big as well. So my friend, for example, bought an e-commerce website of a big brand, and he paid with Bitcoin. So there are more stuff coming, like get paid in crypto, mining, staking, sell, swap, or spend crypto. So that's connected to the slide before. And staking crypto and sell within a year. I think this kind of activities right now, everyone is getting involved in very slow, because you want to get paid with crypto. Maybe I heard some friends, they say, okay, I want to stake some money because I have some money, or I want to use mining software, like for example, there is hardware, or there is cloud, stuff like that. People, they want to make some money right now. And so somehow you fall on that. So I think the framework of Germany is very interesting. Okay, so that's the part of tax-free. If you buy crypto with fiat, it's okay. If you're ordering, it's just keeping your crypto. And if you're moving crypto between wallets, it's okay. If you're gifting crypto, that's very interesting because I don't know exactly. So I found this on Coinly. I don't know about gifting, if it should be a family member or not. I don't know. But that's very interesting because you can say, okay, it's a gift. So I don't know why I had to check it out. And donating crypto to charity makes sense. So that's tax-free. And now we just move quick to questions. If you have, you have. And then we do just networking here.
Can you present any user cases about the supply chain?
You mean like?
Yeah, I'm personally interested in supply chain user case with the blockchain application.
Well, there are a lot of projects, but one attracted my attention was related to logistics, to the way you do the delivery, like doing this kind of grids and just manage these grids like over the blockchain. I mean, when we say over the blockchain, we have to analyze project by project. I think that's the problem. But what's going to happen right now is big companies, they already are big players. They are just putting over the blockchain some processes. So that's what I know. But most of those kind of processes are like closing, so you don't know exactly how it was. So I don't have something very specific in my mind right now. But that's what I know. Like they are trying to just optimize their processes in logistics, in the way they supply everything. But I think that's more related to the single company that's just implementing inside the existing process, the blockchain. Then more having one project related to some chain. But I don't know, maybe we can Google it or something. Because I don't have everything, so I just follow the trends sometimes and the news. That's what I know. So you have a question?
Know about any user case about the supply chain? No?
Well, it depends. I know two products, XYO and VET. So depending on what part of the supply chain, they're technically stuck in business solutions rather than open source projects. I mean, they're not that decentralized, but they're really good solutions. They're really good enterprise solutions. So depending what kind of solution are you looking for? But I only know two of them.
I'm interested in how we can validate, right? Basically, I mean, the blockchain is all about the validating data, and keeping track of the origin, right?
Yeah.
So that's a principle of the blockchain, right? When it comes to supply chain. And but I'm really interested in the product, right? Produced from far away, right? And then it is delivered, right? Let's say from Venezuela, right? For example, right? And delivered to Germany, right? And how we can actually
I
person who produce the product, right? Is it the right price, right? And quality,
fair price.
Yeah, is it fair price from the based on the location of the product manufacturing, right? And the whole full details of the product.
I don't think that right now we have a solution for that.
No, not yet.
I don't know, right? Because the world is very big, right? So I know that the most famous solution I'm aware of is VET, VET, and they are very much tied to the Chinese environment, mostly because they're the producers of the world, right? So, but cross-border validation and fair prices is more a political thing than a technological solution. So, I don't know.
Then let's say domestic, right? Then it should be more possible, right? Domestic, right?
Yeah.
Let's say only Venezuela, only Germany, right? But I want to, I order HelloFresh, right?
Yeah.
But I want to make sure, is it really from the farms, right? I'm actually looking to receive from, right? The South German, right? I can actually read.
Probably your project is VET.
What's that?
VET, V-E-T. V-O-E-T. It's the project that I know the most accurately define what you're looking for.
Oh, yeah.
So the idea is that every hand that touch a project assign a token to it. The main idea in blockchain, yeah. So, but it's a public blockchain for business. So be aware that it's not fully decentralized. So the tokenomics is very much important for companies, and
It's just the application of the concept of the blockchain, right? But not entire full application, right? But is it really like 100% pure, like decentralized?
I don't know.
I think that it's most like a partial, maybe 90%, 85%.
Well, that's the thing.
I think it's almost impossible to fully decentralize, right?
Well-
someone should be somewhere in the middle, right?
Well, you know what?
To some extent, right?
If I understand correctly that project, that is one of the, I think it's closer to a real implementation, is companies don't want fully decentralized. Like a real company, they want some control.
Actually, I know from my personal view, right, I also prefer that there should be some extent of the centralized control, a little, right, depending on the model, right? I think the full decentralization, I don't think it's very risky.
Well, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. But probably you want to take a look there. It's quite advanced. I mean, they have a very well suited solution for a long while already.
So where they are, please.
They're in origin they're American, but they end up landed in China.
Yeah, here there is the Chinese.
Their main focus is China because China produces most of the goods of the world, right?
Yes.
So they, as far as I understood, what
Maybe we can have a look to use cases.
yeah, exactly. So the last time I got a YouTube video about them, they say we're moving to China because basically we want to be from the origin of the product, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to be in the end receiver. We want to be with the person who produced the product, and we want to start from there. But China is complicated. So China is
How
not.
the decentralized system work in China? Very centralized.
Yeah, I think it's related to food. That's interesting. So you have farms involved,
Do you work in
logistics, stores,
industry?
consumers.
I work in,
Are you working in blockchain industry?
no, I'm a type designer,
What?
font designer,
Font designer.
Yeah.
fonts, yeah.
Interesting the part of anti-counterfeiting.
Typography, fonts, type, like
Oh, yeah.
Cool. That's good, for example, for the shoe brand.
It's a very interesting solution. They have come up with a whole set. So they don't have one blockchain anymore. They have created the whole ecosystem for the whole solution, and it's quite solid what they put on the table.
I think that I have about time ago they told me it's not just getting.
It's a very interesting, in particular because I work in a food company, I'm very close to it. Like, yeah, if this ends up being real, we will have to adopt it.
But if you want to adopt that, for example, in your company that's already established business. So, I mean, I think before do that, they go through a decision making, but in the end, as you say, it's not full implementation, so they don't get fully involved
It's
because they
complicated.
use the concept of company.
Yeah, but look, we have problems, right, as a company. One of the problems we have is we want to offer products that are top-notch quality.
Sure.
and we want them to be our products.
Mm-hmm.
We want to label with our brands,
That's the.
but we also want to certify them with whatever certification people fancy. It is vegan and it is whatever thing, because it's our brand, right?
Yes.
So what we want is to go to the producer
Mm-hmm.
and tell us, certify us the thing. But the producer has a problem because we have a problem. For example, the best kimchi we can find
Mm-hmm.
is really created with a small company. And this small company, they don't have the means to run the certification, they don't have the money, they don't have the time, they don't have the thing. So we help them as a company, okay, let's help you with some kind of microfinancing.
So it's kind of investment.
We invest on them in exchange of the brand, right?
Okay.
So, but we would like to go further and say, you know what, you can do your thing, pay, put it in the chain, we will get it from there, we will put it in our packages with that certification of the chain, and when you get home, you scan the thing and you see the trace. You see the trace from the day it was firstly produced, when we repacked it, when we send it to you, you know what is the freshness of the product. We will be happy to develop that for you. But for that, we will have to implement not only just technology, but it's a political thing across processes. So we will have to tell the guy to do it, the delivery guy to do it, the packaging guy to do it, the pre-packaging guy to do it, us to do it, the guy who pick it up and put it in the box to do it, the guy who take, so who will convince DHL, open an API to end up consuming this? So we are in a process where I think they have a very good idea, and I think if this is start from the very bottom and very massive, it's gonna get consumed.
Yeah, I think in general we need time because this kind of company like DHL, so I think they're not gonna shift for us.
And I think that one of the things that I understand that will be lovely to have, and I think that's something that maybe you're fine to. No, it's like, look, this producer in Venezuela has failed 7 times to reach quality. And because you know the whole thing, you can really move that person from the quality they're offering to lower quality, and automatically, like the whole chain will see, don't buy again to this person because this person failed this amount of time. So the amount of transparency you can have is so big that many companies will not like to have it. Like, think about it, if you're a small producer and you fail a couple of times, you don't want to have that in your product.
I think that's kind of related to, for example, fishing, right? So when you do fishing, I mean, you can be transparent if we take a look through all the process that you have, like the way you fish and etc. But there are some companies that give you the certification anyway. So probably if we go for that, it's too much transparent, and so no one's gonna buy it.
It's very too much transparent, and nowadays in the world, I don't know if we're ready for that level of transparency.
I think no, because for example with the meat, it's not like only fish. If you know exactly how it works, probably you're gonna buy it. And probably that's the future of having more awareness in general. And people change their behaviors based on that. I just read an article about just kids, but this happens more in America. They believe that the tuna is born from this cancer.
Of course.
So they don't have the knowledge and the awareness of the food processing. Because you go to the supermarket with your family and you start buying things and you don't get it where they come from. So now with the packaging, everything could be everything. So you buy something, you say, okay, it's chocolate, but probably it's not, or you don't know exactly the process. So I think with that, you're gonna have a lot of transparency and probably less profits for companies.
I think one of the things that I'm guessing, and I think it will happen first, is that you will see it for luxury brands.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I was taking a look. Because right now, for the luxury brand, it's a big problem for the science in general. They steal everything, but that's always happening, and probably that's good. A good thing. But people still need to buy good design clothes, so I'm not sure it's gonna work on the long run because there is still a market. I mean, I think where is a market, and
There's more.
it's like drug. We are against that, but there is a market.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? So you can prevent people from just satisfying.
At the end, you prevent the minors and the rest figure it out.
There's also a lot of opportunity for growth because if it's really transparent, and as you say, there's a lot of companies who don't want this transparency. It also gives room to companies who, if they want to hit the target and provide a quality product, and then they show that they're hitting that target, then people will start investing or buying from that company.
Of course.
So,
But that will take a lot of the force, right? If you actually apply this concept in a small town, right, it should be very easy, right? But if you actually, like I said, if you try like a cross-border, the worldwide, global, right? It's going to take it forever, almost impossible, right?
Yeah, different rules. I think that's a big.
But actually, what I'm trying to do is I'm actually working on an agriculture project, but I'm not actually very much blockchain enthusiast, no. So I like some concept of the blockchain, like sharing the information, and that everybody can access to, and then we can actually validate, right, the data beforehand, right? And then that's something I like about blockchain, but I don't like every single use case of the blockchain. A lot of the problems with the blockchain, right? And so I'm wondering, a lot of the illegal things going on, right? It's kind of underground.
I used to work in a bank, and I can tell you from inside that there is more illegal thing happening in a regular bank in Germany than in the blockchain in general.
Probably yes. Anyway, I was thinking about this project related to supply chain. Now it's coming in my mind. So I meet those guys. But they are not really blockchain. They want to go. So they use a camera and they analyze the products. Like for example, tomatoes. Everything. They train the AI to recognize a bad products from a good products. For example, if the tomato is broke. And so this is kind of continuous system that's acquiring that. And so the problem they have, they can go to the blockchain. There are some compatible with that. They do some of that. But the problem is, for some food process, like for example, there are some receipts or there are some secrets, so they can't go outside from the server. So they have to place the server inside. I think that's the point of the control, because for example, if you have a secret process of processing a specific ingredient or a specific product, everything, and you acquire those information, you put over the blockchain, you're gone. So
You're selling your secret.
you're
You're
selling
giving
your
away.
company. Yes, I think that's the big downside of the blockchain, of the using the blockchain as a company.
I think like at the end there will be use cases as long as you don't have politics in the middle, or you don't have
It's
interest.
very complex. I mean, in Italy, we have a lot of products, and the way everything works is totally different than you imagine. For example, in my region, we have a lot of oranges, lemons, etc. But they are too small, so they sell out, for example, for 8 cents per kilogram. 8 cents. 8.
Wow.
And so they sell out, and then the supermarkets sell for €1 or more,
Yeah.
and don't have any control, even if they are the producer. So, in just some parts of the year, they have to trash some of their production because it's not worth And so I think with the blockchain we can solve this kind of stuff.
Let's suppose we go to, in my neighborhood, there is the market, right? Every Friday, right? You guys have your market in your place, right?
Yeah,
Every Saturday, every Friday, right? And then they sell the vegetable, right? They
Yeah.
sell like meat, right? But do you guys know that where they come from? Are you
I
confident
think
about
outs-
quality and
I think outside from Berlin.
outside Berlin?
I think Brandenburg mostly.
But most of people don't have interest, right? In the origin of the product they purchase, especially on the street market, right?
Well, I talked with some Italians, people that like farmers, etc. They have some clue about technology, like they like. They answered to me. The problem is when you are focusing on your product, like delivering quality, everything, you don't have the peace of mind to thinking about solution for processing, etc. For us, it's all about having the good product and selling out in bulk. That's it. So that's what they told to me, like with honesty. So we can start to do like fragmentation of the selling part. Because if you like do fragmentation of the selling part in hand, so you have to deal with too much people. And so you have the downside of getting lower with the quality. Because you don't have more time to dedicate to everything. It's very complex to
Hey, if you have like a more sophisticated, right? And infrastructure for blockchain, for the supply chain, right? The company like HelloFresh will disappear, right? They take too much profit, right? I
No,
mean, if you have like
I get tired of working one, it's not going to disappear.
so what's the value of the HelloFresh?
The value of HelloFresh,
I didn't work for companies is big value for some consumers. There is still value.
the value is
Well,
not in the
what's the
company.
alternative to HelloFresh? What's the alternative?
That
I can buy the raw material, then I can make it, right?
if you can do it, yes. But most of the people cannot. Yes.
If I give you pasta, for example, spaghetti,
I can buy my own thing.
so maybe you can cook it, but it's not the same. It's like some people need support to do that. It's not
Like
the same.
I can tell straight ahead that 90% of our customers don't know how to cook. Literally. Literally.
So even HelloFresh, right? They don't actually publish the information of their
Why? Is there a
ingredients,
reason?
right? Today,
Why they need to do it? It's not illegal.
I think that is the essence of the product. If you go to the
But it's
so
not.
good part of the restaurant, right? We have full information, right? Where the
Sometimes.
this good restaurant, high quality restaurant, they do publish.
But you pay a lot.
But
Yeah,
they-
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But it's
Because they are confident about
It's
their
not a
quality,
target.
right?
I think it's a target.
Because if you go to like the small like street restaurant, of course not, right?
Yeah, but when you eat a kebab, who cares? It's
Yeah.
2 euros.
But it's the price you pay for
No,
the
no,
thing.
I would care more about my health, right? I'm not being sharp.
I mean, it's okay, but
Keep good.
you have to pay for it somehow.
Look, if you the thing is that the business does not have to solve your struggle. That's an inconsistency that I see in many people. It's like if you have struggles in life, business does not need to solve it. They
Because
will
it's
not.
the business.
Because their business is to make money somehow. So solving other people's struggles is actually non-profitable. You need to sell people something that they're willing to pay for. I can solve them a problem. So if you don't know how to cook, I'm very well versed in cooking. I developed for you a recipe that I know that you will be able to cook and send you the ingredients home. I solved your problem. Good. You really appreciate that. You really appreciate that I solved you a problem.
I think in these big cities like Berlin, if you send someone to the supermarket, they have no idea what they are buying. They're just buying random things. They come back home and they say, I have no food.
So actually, it's a big difference between us and our neighbor. Like my wife and I will read all the labels, all the food we know. I know the content of every shape. But our neighbor, she doesn't care. She goes, buys everything, and it's fine. And for her, as long as it's cooked quickly and she gets it done, fine. So Like I already know, like by the colors of the brand, that that has gluten or that has zinc. Like by the price, I already know the content. So, but
Yeah,
that's
for sure, with a low price, you can expect something.
Do you know how much they take a profit, the HelloFresh? How much do they actually top up on top of the
not
purchase
really
price?
much. Honestly, it's not really much. I mean, for the size of their operation in all the countries they're there, it's not very much. Their stock option, I think, is in 16 right now. Their stocks, so they're not Amazon, honestly.
Yeah,
They're big, but
They're
they're not
very
Amazon.
small, right?
They're really small compared to
Yeah.
macro.
Yeah. They're relatively young company, right? Just 10 years old, right?
yeah, but I mean, I think the point is they can sustain their growth.
And
Use
we,
their
in
market.
our company, we're smaller than HelloFresh, and we're super happy with what we're earning. Like super happy. We are not billionaires, but we're super happy.
Yeah, we have.
It's fine.
I think we have to imagine like big companies like Amazon. We can never imagine how much money they flows. It's like insane. So if you just think about a small person, you have a good company with a lot of people, and they are happy. So if you think about the size, it's like, for example, I was at a panel two months ago here in Berlin, and they were comparing. I don't remember if it was HelloFresh, but it was kind of similar company, and it was kind of Italian panel with Italian company. There was like a brand that it's called Amadori, but people would not notice. But they are the supplier of McDonald's in Italy, and they own almost like 70% of the industry of chicken. And so when they say their number, it was the guys of HelloFresh. I don't know if it was HelloFresh, but probably Delivery Hero. It was like, my God, because they are very big, like, but it's kind of company, they have 100 years, so they are old companies, they own everything. All the chickens processing, everything, so they supply to Europe, US, and so I think that's the point, and it is true also for startups. When you think about startups, they are growing like crazy, so they are big. If you compare, for example, to a big chain of supermarkets, they're still small. But it's okay, because if you're doing something that somehow changing the behaviors or just doing an impact on the market, and you can continue growth, and you are happy, and you have a mission, I mean, it's fine. It's how the work works.
Yeah, I don't think that I don't think that you need to pay attention to the margin of profit. It's not the most important thing. Your margin of profit is directly related to the problem you solve.
Actually, the reason I'm talking about is in emerging market, right? I'm not talking about Germany, because Germany, but it comes, I don't know Venezuela, especially Southeast Asia, right?
Yeah.
The distribution channel is very inefficient and opaque, right? And also there is people who officially distribute agricultural products to end users, right? They take a lot of profit. And also they do not anything to risk. For example, there is a rainfall, right? Drought, right? And then the farmers lose everything, right? Everything's all right.
Yeah, but
they take all risk, right? That means there should be some different.
The problem that's super interesting to me because I come from Venezuela, and yes, it's complicated. Venezuela is really complicated. But there you're mixing culture, politics, and money.
Yeah.
And power. It's not a problem of fairness. It's a problem of power. So it's
No, that is about the market efficiency. Market efficiency means the information should be completely transparent. Everybody can access to it. And then the price will be actually determined in the market, right? But things are not transparent, right? The price will be low, higher. Someone will take a more profit, right?
now
And then the end user people like us will be victim, right?
do
So
you
it's all
think-
about the efficiency and transparency. Efficiency equals transparency.
Do you think right now in the world there is more or less information available?
It depends on country. Depends on country.
Is it in your country? Can you access YouTube?
Which country?
In your country, could you access YouTube?
In America, it's efficient. It's very efficient. Most transparent country in the
Can you access YouTube from your country?
which one?
YouTube.
YouTube?
YouTube. Can you access it?
Do I have access to YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course I do.
Then what's the problem? Like right now, in the world, the information is literally free. Like literally. You have everything at your hand in a click. Everything. If you cannot process the problem is you cannot process it, not that the information is not there. So the problem that the farmer has is not that the information is not available for that person, it's that that person cannot process it. But the information is today free for absolutely everyone worldwide, instantaneously. Otherwise, I will not be here.
The extent to which the information is available for everybody, right? It really depends on the country. It should be also different, maybe Venezuela, America, Germany, right? Indonesia. It's so much varies depending on country, right?
Look, I leave Venezuela with barely finishing my university, and I am here. I've learned everything I know with the cheapest places on internet. And it's about who you digest information, not that the information is not available for you. And unfortunately, there is really little you can do about it. It's about education. And that's what I tell you, when you put your problem in the table, the problem is more related to culture, politics, and power, rather than actual technology, because the technology and the information nowadays is ridiculously free. Like, I don't know for how long have you been, give me a second, how long have you been in the typography environment? I don't know.
Probably since my studies, so like 6, 7 years.
6, 7 years, okay. So my ex-wife was a typography designer as well, from Venezuela. And I remember when you have to buy by on $11,000 the Adobe Font Studio.
Wow.
To get all the fonts that today you can buy by the cents.
Or you can rent them on the.
You can rent them by use.
With a subscription.
A new title, okay? A new title. So
I think connected to that, there is the part of the investments. Right now, if you have a new idea and you ask for investment to develop your idea, most of the time you get a no. Because now you can develop your idea like literally with, I don't know, with your own money, like $1,000 you can afford someone that just give you a user interface, or there are this marketplace like freelancers, etc. So you can hire someone and you can bootstrap your idea. You do a landing page, everything. So I think it's connected to the information we have, because you have more information, you have more people that get used to do stuff and they are just lowering their prices. If you think about 10, 20 years ago to develop a software or mobile app, it was very, very expensive because you need a team, you need a lot of things around you to pay people. And probably, for example, an e-commerce website like 10, 15 years ago costing you a lot of money. Right now, you can download the free software. Maybe it's okay, you are not Amazon for sure, but you can start with small money. And I think that's the point of investment right now. That's why investment are shifting more on things that you can touch, or patents, or stuff that you need real investment. And so sometimes later on, a lot of guys say, I need this idea, I want to develop this idea, I need money. You don't need real money, you need to process the information you have around, to take the opportunities you have around, to build what you want. And 100%, I did a lot of things with less than a fraction of the money that people think we need.
well, I started my career with 9 euros. Literally.
Started your career with €9.
Yeah. So I'm here seated because I paid a Ruby training with 9 euros.